Have you ever come across a place where, history and myth aren't just connected, but they're basically the same thing? Where ancient secrets aren't just stories, but they're actually like carved right into the stone, waiting for you to figure them out. Well, today we're taking a deep dive into exactly that kind of place, Isurumuniya Vihara. It's nestled beside the really peaceful Tissa Lake in Anuradhapura, Sri Lanka. And this isn't just some old temple. It's pretty unique. It kind of embodies both deep Buddhist devotion and these really ancient Vedic myths all in one spot. So our mission here is to unpack all these fascinating stories and, the key figures tied to Isurumuniya. We'll look at the kings who built it, check out the incredible carvings, and uncover some surprising links to epic legends. Think of this as your shortcut to understanding a really, really multifaceted piece of history and, well, legend. Okay, let's unpack this. Isurumuniya isn't just an old temple. It feels more like a living archive of Sri Lanka's deep past.
It really is, and the sources we have paint such a vivid picture. What's particularly striking, I think, is how Isurumuniya acts as this convergence point. You can literally see different cultural narratives layering on top of each other over centuries. It's quite rare to see it so clearly.
It sounds like a fascinating tapestry. Okay, let's start right at the beginning. The historical foundations. It wasn't always called Isurumuniya, right? Initially, it was Megagiri Vihara, commissioned by King Devanampiya Tissa way back in, the 3rd century BC?
That's right, 307 to 267 DC. And King Devanampiya Tissa's reign, well, it was absolutely crucial for Sri Lanka. His time really marks the formal arrival, the widespread establishment of Buddhist heritage on the island. And when he commissioned Megagiri Vihara, it was specifically to house 500 high-caste novice monks. So it wasn't just building something. No, it was about laying down the institutional and spiritual groundwork for organized monastic life, a really pivotal moment. It shaped the island's culture for ages.
Embedding that dedication to monastic life right from the early days.
Exactly.
And then, okay, fast forward a few centuries. Another king comes along, King Kasyapa I. He ruled around 473 to 491 AD. He did a major restoration, but it seems like it was more than just repairs, like a whole reimagining.
Precisely. King Kasyapa's work was so significant, he actually renamed the place entirely. He called it Bupulvan Kasubgiri Radmahavihara. Bit of a mouthful, maybe pronounce something like Bupulvan Kasubgiri Radmahavihara.
Okay.
But the name itself tells a very personal story.
Yeah.
What's really fascinating, the detail that stands out, is that it was named after his own daughters. And himself.
Wow, really? His daughters?
Yeah. It's not just typical royal patronage. It feels like a very deliberate, personal declaration. Kasyapa, his rise to power was a bit controversial. So doing this was like intertwining his family's legacy, his own reign, directly with the sacred site. It's a classic move, really, for monarchs wanting to legitimize their rule.
Yeah.
You associate yourself with the divine, with something enduring.
Right.
It says a lot about how he wanted to cement his own narrative into the temple's sanctity.
That's a powerful statement, isn't it? Politically and spiritually. Literally carving your family identity into a holy place. And speaking of carvings, that brings us perfectly to the incredible art at Isurumuniya, sculpted right into the rock face. We're talking about 4 main reliefs, right? Yeah. The famous Isurumuniya lovers, the elephant pond, the royal family, and these Kavata figures. Let's focus on the Isurumuniya lovers first. It's probably the most well-known. And there's an interesting backstory. It was moved there.
Yes, that detail is fascinating. Our sources say it was relocated from a royal pleasure garden. It wasn't originally made for Isurumuniya.
Huh. So why move it to a temple?
Well, that move itself speaks volumes about cultural syncretism, how beliefs blend in ancient Sri Lanka. The sources are quite specific about who the figures are supposed to be. King Kuvera, who's also known as Ravana, the god of wealth.
Okay.
And he's there with Queen Kuni. Now, for anyone familiar with the Ramayana epic, Kuvera's a big deal. He's the god of wealth, yeah. But the epic says he actually ruled Lanka before Ravana took over.
Whoa, okay. That's a huge connection.
It really is. It shows that early Buddhist sites didn't just, erase older beliefs. They often absorbed them, reinterpreted them. It shows this kind of remarkable adaptability. So it makes you ask, what does it really mean when figures from one epic story are physically carved into the landscape of a different, mostly Buddhist tradition?
It definitely suggests a deep layering of beliefs, doesn't it? Like the place itself holds multiple truths at once. And while the lover's carving is famous, the others are important too, right? The elephant pond carving.
Absolutely. The elephant pond carving is beautiful. That shows these elephants bathing, playing, depicted with such life and movement. Elephants often symbolize things like, prosperity, strength, maybe even wisdom in nature, echoing ancient beliefs about them. And then there's a royal family carving. It's generally thought to be King Kasyapa himself, perhaps with his family, again, anchoring the site to the royal power of that time.
Right, tying back to his renaming and personal connection.
Exactly. And then you have the Kavata figures. These are more enigmatic, sort of playful figures. Their meaning isn't totally clear. Maybe guardian spirits or older deities, or just symbols of human emotion. They add another layer of mystery.
So each carving is like a visual story, adding richness beyond just the Buddhist function.
Precisely. They aren't just decoration, they're narratives in stone, hinting at these deeper connections between different eras and belief systems.
It really makes you think about how much silent dialogue can happen within an ancient place like this. Okay, so we have the history, the art, but Isurumuniya seems to have another layer, doesn't it? Something older, more mystical, rooted in local lore. This idea that it was once the home of a great sage, Pulastya, or Pulastya Rishi.
Yes, and this is where it gets really interesting, connecting to the grand epics. If we link this to the bigger picture, it roots a major epic figure right here, physically. Our sources indicate a strong local tradition holds this wasn't just the sage's hermitage, but possibly the birthplace of his very famous grandson.
Wait, don't tell me.
Ravana, the powerful 10-head king of Lanka from the Ramayana.
Wow. Okay, so Ravana himself, from the epic, is linked to this specific spot.
That's the local tradition. It's a profound link, placing one of the most iconic and complex figures in South Asian myth right here. Long before any Buddhist temple was built, it suggests that this place held some kind of deep pre-Buddhist significance, maybe a seat of ancient power even.
So Ravana, this figure of immense power and, well, tragedy in the end, his origin story is tied here. The sources get specific about the lineage, right?
They do. According to these traditions, Sage Vishrava, that was Pulastya's son, performed intense austerities, tapasya right here, intense meditation.
At Isurumuniya.
At this very spot, yes. And through his spiritual power, he granted a boon. It was his daughter, Kaikasi, who received this boon or blessing. And that blessing led to her giving birth to 4 extraordinary sons, one of whom, of course, was Ravana. And the sources note how Ravana's name itself came to represent both incredible power and deep tragedy throughout South Asian lore. So this legend, it adds this incredibly deep mythological layer to the site. We're moving beyond historical kings now, like Devanampiya Tissa and Kasyapa, and we're stepping into the realm of mythical rulers, epic sagas. It suggests the land itself is just soaked in this epic drama.
So it's not just a peaceful monastery site, but also a place where these huge mythological struggles and spiritual quests supposedly happened ages before the temple.
That's the picture that emerges when you combine the history with the folklore. It's quite astounding.
It really is how these completely different narratives, Buddhist calm and sanctity on one hand and this ancient dramatic Vedic story on the other, how they just come together in one place. Isurumuniya seems to really weave these threads together. You've got the Buddhist temple, the polished carvings, the quiet cliff cave, and then you have this incredibly old, powerful legend sort of embedded in its very essence.
It's more than just weaving them together. It's almost like a living testament to how cultures evolve and absorb things. Our sources describe it beautifully, something like, sages once walked here, gods played out their dramas, and the humble sanctity of monastic life became forever intertwined with the grand narratives of Lanka's ancient past.
That's poetic.
It is. It means Isurumuniya isn't just a place of worship. It's like a profound container for a nation's multi-layered cultural memory. It shows how new beliefs often build on, rather than just erase what came before. It finds a way to hold both.
So what does this all really mean for us looking back today? It seems to be about how places can just hold so much, so many multitudes, centuries of human belief, interaction with the sacred, all concentrated there.
Exactly. Every carving, every weathered rock face at Isurumuniya seems to whisper these different stories.
You can almost picture it, can't you? The Buddhist monks doing their daily chants, maybe fully aware of the older legends about sages and demon kings associated with that same ground.
It's a powerful reminder that history isn't just a straight line. It's always accumulating, adding layers, adding dimensions to the places we think we know.
Okay, so let's recap this journey. We've gone deep into Isurumuniya. Started with its origins, Megagiri Vihara, under King Devanampiya Tissa, a place for monks. Then saw its restoration and renaming by King Kasyapa III, adding that layer of royal history, that very personal touch.
Right, connecting his own reign directly to it.
Then we explore the incredible art, especially the Isurumuniya lovers, and discover their surprising origin in a pleasure garden, linking Buddhist art back to Vedic figures like Kuvera.
And the elephants, the royal family, those mysterious Kavata figures.
Yeah, all telling their own part of the story. And finally, we delved into those really profound echoes of epic mythology, connecting the site physically to the great sage Pulastya and, incredibly, to his legendary grandson Ravana. Isurumuniya really does feel like a testament to Sri Lanka's incredibly rich mix of history and myth, a place where stories that seem like they shouldn't fit together somehow do.
And I think it reminds us that often the most sacred, the most resonant places are exactly those places where different stories, different beliefs find some kind of common ground. It leaves you with this profound sense of how intertwined human experience is, with history, with myth, maybe with the divine. Places like Isurumuniya, these tangible spots, they aren't just relics, they're living archives. They hold these vast, multi-layered cultural stories. And they really push us to think about the power of ancient sites to connect us not just to recorded history, but to timeless legends too. It reveals these deep cultural currents that are still flowing.
Absolutely. And that really leaves us with a final provocative thought for you, the listener. How do you think these ancient stories layered like this, one on top of another, sometimes maybe even contradictory, but coexisting in places like Isurumuniya, how do they continue to shape how we understand culture and history even today? It really shows how taking a deep dive like this can reveal such surprising richness, hidden right there in plain sight, just waiting for us to explore its deeper meanings.